Hello, and welcome to the Healing Streams Reflections. The title for today's post is Finding Strength in God. If you expect life to be easy, challenges will seem difficult. Once a while in our life, we may experience a downside where everything just doesn't work, and you will feel all is over. When life takes you by surprise, what do you do? What right choice do you make? When you receive news that is unsettling or disturbing, are you tempted to become fearful? Or do you stand firm and turn to God and pray? As David approached Ziklag in 1 Samuel chapter 30, it was obvious or clear that something was horribly or shockingly wrong. From a distance, he could see smoke rising from the city that was his home. We can imagine the frantic or panic-stricken questions that raced through his mind as he rode toward the city's gates. What's happened? Is my family okay? Did anyone survive? Have I lost everything and everyone I love? Faced with the tragedy of losing their families, David's soldiers began to turn against him and even talked about killing him. Instead of planning a rescue, David's soldiers looked for someone to blame. But David found his strength in God and began looking for a solution instead of a scapegoat. When facing problems, remember that it is useless to look for someone to blame or criticize. Instead, consider how you can help find a solution. While David and his army had been away, the Amalekites raided their homes. They took captive the women and all who were in Ziklag, both small and great, without killing anyone, and carried them off and set their houses on fire. Then David and the people who were with him lifted their voices and wept until there was no strength in them to weep. 1 Samuel chapter 30, verses 2 and 4. For a brief moment, these men felt totally crushed or overwhelmed by their circumstances. Their enemies had struck hard and fast, then disappeared, taking with them all that was valuable. When it appeared the situation could not get any worse, it did. Those who were with David, the men who had followed David faithfully, began to talk about stoning him. 1 Samuel chapter 30, verse 6. He had a valid or correct to feel defeated. He had lost everything. His army was weighed down with grief. He was facing possible death from those he thought were his friends, and he was not immediately sure what to do next. However, the one thing he did not do was become fearful. Something of extreme value and power remained unshaken and untouched within David's heart, and that was his faith in God. He may have been discouraged for the moment, but his hope in the Lord did not waver. The same can be true for each of us. When you receive news that is unsettling, are you tempted to become fearful, or do you turn to God and pray, Lord, this situation is beyond my ability. Show me what to do and guide me through this deep valley. I placed my trust in you and know you will not fail me. This is what David did. He made the right choice. He refused to become emotionally hooked by his circumstances. But I don't believe he denied the seriousness of the situation. It is important to know what you are facing, but it is also important to know who is in control of all things. David did not allow his mind to be put to flight or deceived by thoughts of defeat or failure. When we focus on the negative aspects of life, we will be tempted to fight against the enemy in our own strength or flee the scene. God wants you to stand firm in your faith. You need to be aware of the challenges in your path, but you also need to learn to view them from God's viewpoint or his perspective. God knows exactly what will take place today, tomorrow, and in the distant future. Therefore, our focus needs to be set in one direction, and that is toward him. Worry, doubt, and fear lead to one thing: sin. Each one of these has the powerful potential to prevent you and I from obeying God. They have the capacity to keep us enveloped or wrapped up in our thoughts, feelings, and inabilities. The Lord is advising as well as admonishing you and I to trust him and walk by faith. Remember, the Lord, he is the one who goes before you. He will be with you. He will not leave you nor forsake you. Do not fear nor be dismayed. Deuteronomy chapter 31, verse 8. More importantly, from divine viewpoint, talk talk about the word constantly. Meditate on the word continually. Read the word obediently, Joshua 1:8. Follow the word only or exclusively, Joshua 1:7. And accept the word totally, all that is written in it, Joshua 1:8. In 1 Samuel chapter 30, again, David followed 4 principles that we also can apply to our lives. Number 1, he did not allow fear to overwhelm him. 2, he ignored threats from those around him. 3, he quickly turned to the Lord in prayer. 4, he acted on his faith and did what God told him to do. Rather than caving in or giving up to thoughts of discouragement, David strengthened himself in the Lord, his God. 1 Samuel chapter 30, verse 6. He also inquired of the Lord, saying, shall I pursue this band? Shall I overtake them? God's answer was swift. Pursue, for you will surely overtake them, and you will surely rescue all. These words were all that David needed. They represented hope, guidance, and encouragement from God. With this set of instructions hidden within David's heart, he rode off in pursuit of his enemies, and he gained a mighty victory. Beloved in the Lord, put your fear to flight. Stand firm in your faith. Strengthen yourself and hope in God, for He will make your way prosperous, and then we'll have good and fruitful success. Stay safe and be healthy. Bye for now. We'll meet again.